And let's get started over here. Okay. Okay, okay.
When is applied? When is the sur for everybody? When is the sur for some people? It's derabanan, right?
Right.
What is the give there?
So we spoke about it last week.
Yeah, I was here, but
Right. I'll put out a chaz. I'll try to put out a chazar next time. I want to get into our topic for today. I'll try to send you something afterwards. But let's try to get into our topic for today. What is our topic for today? It's halachot maaseh Shabbat. So we're on page 225. We're in the fifth shir in the Tzurba Rabbanan, volume 22, the Lax Family Edition, the Dr. Harold and Magda Katz volume. And this is, like Rami pointed out, the last of the 7 volumes of Hilchot Shabbat. This, for us, is, I believe, our 84th shir since we started Hilchot Shabbat. Now, even though we did learn a lot, there's still a lot more out there, which will apply today as well. Although we're going to get a lot of important yesodot, a lot of important information and foundation, not everything is going to be mentioned in this shir, but it's going to give you a springboard for other things. So what are we dealing with? What is Maaseh Shabbat? Maaseh Shabbat is something was done on Shabbat. So in the last week, in the last 2 shir, we were dealing with when a guy does something for me on Shabbat. That's not today's topic. Today's topic is
when a
Jew does something on Shabbat.
Not allowed to do, and he did.
An Isser Malacha that produces something.
And what do you
okay?
do with it?
What is the ramifications of his Maaseh Shabbat? He cooked on Shabbat. That's the classic example the Gemara deals with. That's the way the Shulchan Aruch brings it down. The Shulchan Aruch brings it in Shun Yud Ches, which is the Hilchos of Bishul on Shabbat, and he brings it the Maaseh Shabbat also, because that's where the Gemara brings it as well.
He cooked for himself.
So he cooked
for himself
on Shabbat
for himself.
For himself, for someone else.
No, if you cook for you, you never.
We'll have to see. All these variables come into place. There are three Ikar main variables. What are the 3 variables you have to look in these cases? Number 1, we talked about Goy versus Jew. It's going to make a big difference. B'chtei she'asu really applies only by Goy, and not by Maaseh Shabbat of a Jew. That's the first thing. Second thing, Shoigig Mazid. Was it done by accident? What's an accident? And was done by Mazid? If it's done by Mazid, what is Mazid? All right, that's going to be major ramification. Shoigig or Mazid. And the third one, and very important, and this requires you to be someone of a Talmud Chacham, the Oraita, the Rabbanan. You have to know the Isurs of the Oraita, Isurs of the Rabbanan, because that also will have ramifications. So we're going to begin our sugya on page 225, source number 1, which is the Gemara in Masechet Ketuvot. This Gemara is not only in Ketuvot, it's also in Gitin, it is also in Shabbat, it's in multiple places, this Gemara. And it's also in Chulin. And we're going to learn it in Ketuvot, and we're going to learn the Rashi in Chulin, because that's the way the Poskim understand the Gemara. So let's take a look. We're in source number 1. And we have here a Gemara as follows. The Tanya. This is why it's in Shun Yud Ches, in Hilchos Bishul, because the Gemara's case is Hamvashel b'Shabbat, of someone, a Jew, transgressed, and he cooked on Shabbat b'shogeg yochal. If it was shogeg, if it was accident,
I didn't know Shabbat.
Even he can eat it. He may eat it. All right? B'mezid, if it was done b'mezid, on purpose, lo yochal, then he can't eat it. Okay? Divrei Rabbi Meir. The Gemara is not saying when he could eat it, when he cannot eat it. The Gemara says he can eat if it's shogeg, b'mezid he cannot eat it. We don't know what's a Shabbat. We don't know what we're talking about right now. But that's Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir, shogeg, you can eat it. Mezid, no. Fine. Rabbi Huda says, b'shogeg, if he did it by accident, yochal motzei Shabbat. He can eat it motzei Shabbat. Right away. Okay? So Rabbi Meir, who said you can eat it, b'shogeg yochal, must be he's eating it on Shabbat day itself.
Right.
Well, we're going to come to Rashi in a minute. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda, b'shogeg yochal motzei Shabbat. B'mezid lo yochal olamit. If he did it on purpose, he cannot eat it forever. This food. B'mezid lo yochal olamit. He will not eat it forever. We don't know what Rabbi Yehuda holds for others. He's talking about the guy himself. Now, the most machmer of Shitot is Rabbi Yochanan HaSandler. Rabbi Yochanan HaSandler, man, B'shogeg, if it was done by accident, Yi'achel lemotzei Shabbat. Right? What does that mean? Right? Yi'achel lemotzei Shabbat la'acherim v'lo lo. If he did it by accident,
We don't want to benefit him.
he can never eat it.
We don't want to benefit him.
But they can eat it after Motzei Shabbat. B'mezid lo yachel olamit. If he did it on purpose, then he can. Then b'mezid lo yachel olamit. It cannot be eaten forever. Who lo v'lo la'acherim. Nobody at all can ever eat it. All right. So let's review. Let's review the three shitot that we have right now from the Gemara. The Pashtus, it says as follows. Rabbi Meir says, if it's an accident, you can eat it. If it's a mezid, it was done on purpose, you can't eat it. Rabbi Yehuda said, if it was accident, Motzei Shabbat. Right?
Yeah.
If it was on purpose, you can't eat it forever. Rabbi Yochanan HaSandler said, if it was accident, Motzei Shabbat only for others. Him, never. If it was on purpose, never for him, never for anyone else. Do we have these three shitot from the Gemara clear? We have them?
Yeah.
Right, we're going to get to that chart in a moment because it's going to be based on Rashi. Okay? So now, there is Rashi's in different places. Rashi in Ketuvot understands this Gemara slightly different. But this Gemara, when in Chulin, Rashi understands the way to bring it down here. The Poskim understand the Sugya according to the Rashi in Chulin. That's why the Tzurba brings down this Rashi versus the other Rashis that are found in other places of Shas that are somewhat different in its explanation. So let's take a look over here. This Rashi coming from Masechet Chulin that talks about the same case. So it said that what Rabbi Meir said that if it was shogeg, then what? Yochal. You can eat it. Says Rashi. Hu atzmo. He himself can eat it. Uvo bayom. And on Shabbat he can eat it. Ve'en tzarich lahamtin ada erev b'chtei shi'asu. And you don't have to wait until Shabbat because shi'asu. You don't have to wait nothing. Right away. If it was shogeg, Rabbi Meir is going to be like this. If you did it by accident, there's no knas. We're not penalizing you. It was an accident. What do you want from this guy? It was an accident. Okay, he can take it right away. B'mezid. Now there's an isur there, right? If it's mezid, then there's an isur. He did it on purpose. He knew about it. He knew it was Shabbat. He knew the isur was there was an isur, and he did it. Then what? Lo yachal. Bo bayom. He cannot eat it in the daytime. So Rabbi Meir said that it is mezid lo yachal. What did he mean? Bo bayom. You cannot eat it. Ad shetershach. Until it gets dark. Uvichdei shi'asu. Right? And for the amount of time it would take to perform the action. V'hu adin la'acher nami. Right? It's the same thing for acher. The aser mechiliyah boy bayayim. Also aser to eat on that day.
So Rabbi Meir is saying, Motzei Shabbat he can eat.
B'chdei she'asu. Yeah.
It's like you're rewarding him.
So Rabbi Meir is saying, if it was done on purpose, you can't use it on Shabbat, but you can use it Motzei Shabbat after B'chdei she'asu. Why? Because you don't want him to have hana from an isser, and this way, if you make him wait, he's not going to do it again because he's not going to get any hana from the isser. Okay, so Rabbi Meir Shita Rabotai, take a look in the chart. It's very good to take a look at this chart now. First thing on Rabbi Meir. So according to Rabbi Meir, B'mezid, the violator, and others, like he said, Bo Bayom, V'hu Adin La'acherim, so are permitted after Shabbat. And he said B'chdei she'asu, but we don't have to get into that because nothing to be anyway. But that's what he said. Rabbi Meir said if it was done b'mezid, permitted after Shabbat for him and for others. B'shogeg, permitted immediately for him and for others. So Rabbi Meir is very straight down the line. Mezid, asur till Motzei Shabbat. That's what he said. You're not allowed to eat till Motzei Shabbat. You can eat it. B'chdei she'asu. And if it was b'shogeg, you can eat it right away. Him and the anyone else. Okay, how does Rashi understand Rabbi Yehuda? So let's take a look. Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, v'shogeg yochel Motzei Shabbat, v'lo b'Shabbat. If he did it by accident, he cannot eat it on Shabbat, right? And the same thing is for others. The same thing is for others. The apple got the b'shoigeg, right? That even though b'shoigeg skila leka, there is no skila avera, still an avera. And he says further, there's no need for b'chtei shiasu. Okay, so at the shogeg level, Rabbi Yehuda holds you have to wait for Motzei Shabbat miyad. Miyad Motzei Shabbat, you can already take it. So take a look at Rabbi Yehuda in shogeg, and he writes unintentional for the person himself permitted after Shabbat, for others also permitted after Shabbat. Okay, what does Rabbi Yehuda hold when it comes to mezid? So what does he hold when it comes to mezid? So what did he say when it comes there? He says he may never eat it, right? What did he say? What did we say?
Never. Nobody can eat it.
B'mezid lo yechal olamit. What does this mean? This means
Nobody.
lo yechal olamit b'dideh, for himself. Aval achrini, for others, shari.
This is Rabbi Meir.
Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda.
Rabbi Yehuda.
Aval achrini shari. Hu avad isura kinasuhu rabanan. Aval achrini lo tanarei shenam b'dideh. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda says when he said, Rashi says, Rabbi Yehuda said, b'mezid lo yechal olamit, that's for himself. For other people, they can eat Motzei Shabbat. So take a look inside the chart. Intentional is mezid, according to Yehuda. The violator, the guy who did it, forbidden forever. Others, for achrini, for other people, permitted Motzei Shabbat. That's the way Rashi is interpreting the Gemara. And many Rishonim go with this interpretation. That's why this becomes the one the halacha takes. We're going to see. We're not there yet. I'm still figuring out the shitot. I don't know the shitot yet. You already jump into the halakha. Okay.
Halakha is Rabbi Yochanan Sandlar.
It's not Rabbi Yochanan Sandler. It's not even. Not even in the. It's not even in the mix. Rabbi Yochanan Sandler is not in the mix. Yehuda Rabbi Meir is machoget. Where does it go according? Shulchan Aruch versus Tosfot and the Gra. We're going to get into it. Let's just figure out Rabbi Yochanan Sandler's shita is very pashut because he actually spells out the whole thing in the Gemara. Right? He says if it's mezid, it's forbidden forever for everyone. Lo v'lacherim. If it's b'shogeg, for him it is asur le'olam, and for others it is permitted Motzei Shabbat. Okay.
Rashi probably gets it because it says Rabbi Yochanan said for him and for everyone. So
right. So if he said olamit,
yeah,
and he didn't say lo v'lacherim, so it's just for him, right? And and this Rashi in Chulin says it this way. And other Rishonim agree with, they explain the same Gemara this way as well. And this is why it becomes the one that halacha deals with, this interpretation of the Gemara. Okay, so we have our three shitot. We have our beautiful chart. All right. Now, this Maaseh Shabbat, we have to have another explanation here. When they say it is sur le'olam, according to Rabbi Yehuda, for himself, right? If he did it b'mezid. Or the Rabbi Yochanan Sandler, b'mezid, it's asur le'olam for everybody. Is this isur deoraita or an isur derabanan? Right? That's the next big question. Isur deoraita or isur derabanan? Which one is it?
Derabanan.
So let's take a look. The next piece, that's continuation of our Gemara in Masechet Ketubot. No, is the Maaseh Shabbat that I'm telling you can't use, is that a derabanan punishment?
Yeah.
Or is that a deoraita that it's Maaseh Shabbat and you're not allowed to use? That's what we're dealing with right now. There is going to be a difference if the malacha was a derabanan or deoraita. That would also be there. We're not up to there yet. Now we're defining Isser Maaseh Shabbat, and I'm telling you can't use it. Is that an Isser deoraita you can't use it? Or is that an Isser derabanan? Is it a Kanas deoraita or is it a Kanas derabanan? I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's take a look in this Gemara. Okay. Well, you have a Kanas deoraita. Chaimish. It's just a Kanas deoraita. I'm sure you can find more off the top of the head. Okay, careful. Right? You have. So let's take a look. So why did Rabbi Yochanan and Sandler say that it's asur le'olam? Okay. Why is something becoming asur le'olam? Why is he so machmir? So it says as follows the Gemara. My Rabbi Yochanan Sandler kididarish Rabbi Chia apitcha devei nesiya. Okay, he explains this at the entrance of the house of the Nasi. What does it say in the parsha? In the end of Sefer Shemot, it says ushmartem et hashabbat ki kodesh hi lachem. Ushmartem et hashabbat, observe the Shabbat, for it is holy for you. What does this mean? By saying that the Shabbat is kodesh, ma kodesh. What's usually kodesh mean? When it comes to food, what do we say kodesh is? Korbanot, right? Just as something is made kodesh for the mikdash, you can't simply eat it. Ma kodesh asur be'achila, af maaseh Shabbat asurin be'achila. Since it says ushmartem the Shabbat ki kodesh, it's kodesh, it's to the temple, it belongs to the mikdash. Then what you're doing, maaseh Shabbat also becomes kodesh in the sense that it's asur be'achila. Af maaseh Shabbat asurin be'achila. Ima kodesh asur b'hana. Now kodesh that belongs to the mikdash, it's asur b'hana. Af maaseh Shabbat asur b'hana. Is maaseh Shabbat also asur b'hana? Talmud loymar. Therefore, the Gemara, the Torah teaches what? Lachem. It says ushmartem Shabbat ki kodesh hu lachem. What does lachem mean? Shelachem yeh. It should be yours. Meaning, you're allowed to have benefit from Maaseh Shabbat. Benefit, an indirect benefit, meaning you can sell it and make money from it. You don't even have to deduct the cost, the labor, the time, this and that. You can take full price for the Maaseh Shabbat. That's going to be according to everybody, right? But that's what he's saying over here. It's kadosh, it's kodesh, you can't eat asur b'achila, but it's lachem, you can have hana from it afterwards. Shelachem yeh. Yachol afilu b'shogeg. You would think also maybe when it's shogeg, it should become kodesh and it should become asur, right? Talmud loymer mechaleleya mot yumat. Only if you violate it on purpose, then mot yumat. B'mezin amarti lecha below b'shogeg. Comes out only b'mezin, it becomes an isur, d'oraita, so to speak. Whereas if it's shogeg, it's not going to become isur. Now, pliga bar Rav Acha v'Ravina. Rav Acha and Ravina argue. Chad Omar Maaseh Shabbat d'oraita. Right? V'chad Omar d'Rabanan. When Rabbi Yochanan Sandler explained this pshat, ushmartem Shabbat ki kodesh hi lachem, was this, he's saying it as the psukim were teaching you a d'oraita, or was he saying it's d'Rabanan? Man dam d'oraita kedam ranan. The one who said it's d'oraita is like we learned, like we learned ki kodesh hu lachem, ma kodesh asur b'achila, af maaseh Shabbos asur b'achila. Okay. Man dam d'Rabanan. How would he learn this pasuk? Amar kra kodesh he kodesh. Shabbat is holy. The ein Maaseh kodesh. But what? It's Maaseh does not become kodesh in the sense that it becomes an Isser D'oraita. Rather, it is in Isser D'Rabbanan. So, how do you learn the pasuk? He kodesh. He, according to those who want to say Maaseh Shabbat is D'oraita, they're saying it, comparing it to kodesh. According to those who want to say that it's D'Rabbanan, when it says ki kodesh means Shabbat is kodesh, but not Maaseh Shabbat, and therefore the Isser is a D'Rabbanan. So you have here, and the Gemara seems to be a machloket, right? What Rabbi Yochanan Sandlar actually held. Was it to be in D'oraita or D'Rabbanan? Now,
why are we reading so much into the word kodesh? Shabbat is kodesh. What is I have to say kodesh compared to this.
They're making a teaching to show you that it's an Isser L'Olam. It's Kodesh, Asur B'Achil. So Maaseh, we're going to see that that's why Rabbi Yochanan Sandler was so strict. If he holds it was a D'oraita, that's why he's going to say Asur L'Olam, law, V'La'acherim, if it was B'Mezid. Everyone's Asur for everybody. Why? Because he's dealing with a D'oraita, so he's very machmir. Whereas Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda are much more lenient, right? They're saying, even Rabbi Yehuda says it's Asur L'Olam, it's only for him, but for others, it's mutar, right? It must be that they're holding it's a D'Rabbanan. Okay? So Rabbi Yochanan Sandler might be viewing it, it's machloket what he views it as, but he might be viewing it as a D'oraita. Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, who seem to be lenient on these cases, they might be holding Maaseh Shabbat is a D'Rabbanan. Right? is going to come out. Allah Lama said that we're really going to treat it, I believe, as a derabanan.
Yeah.
Okay, that there is a derabanan the Maaseh Shabbat and not necessarily a doraita. Taisus points out an interesting idea. Taisus points out the Maaseh lo yachol lamid klal milsa. Maaseh the Meir, Shoigeg the Yehuda. Rabbi Meir's shita by Shoigeg, right? Rabbi Meir's shita by Maaseh is Rabbi Yehuda's shita by Shoigeg. All right, so let's look. Let's go. Let's take a look at the chart. Rabbi Meir's shita by Maaseh. So Rabbi Meir says by Maaseh, take a look at page 227. By intentional, it's permitted after Shabbat, permitted after Shabbat. Rabbi Yehuda's shoigeg, unintentional, permitted after Shabbat, permitted after Shabbat. Okay, so Tosis points this out. That Rabbi Meir's Maaseh is Rabbi Yehuda's shoigeg next. And Maaseh the Rabbi Yehuda's Maaseh is shoigeg the Rabbi Yochanan Asandler. Is the Rabbi Yochanan Asandler's shoigeg. So take a look. Rabbi Yehuda's Maaseh, forbidden forever for the guy who did it, permitted after Shabbat for everyone else. And Rabbi Yochanan Asandler's unintentional, right? The violator, forbidden forever, and others forbidden after Shabbat. I think Tosfot is trying to say that each one is more machmer than the other. So that guy's shoigeg, you know, that guy's Maaseh, this guy's shoigeg, that guy's Maaseh, this guy's shoigeg. Right? Everyone is more machmer than the other. Okay. So far, we went through the sugya. We saw the Gemara. We saw some of the Rishonim. We saw an explanation into the Isser. Now let's look lahalacha l'maaseh. So first, we're going to start with the Rif and the Rambam. The Rif is the same, brings the same thing as the Rambam. We're going to learn the Rambam inside. Let's take a look at the Rambam, how he holds halacha l'maaseh. Who do we go according to? Meir, Yehuda, Yosef, and Sandler. Who is the halacha like, and what does he hold? Is the Isur, the Oraita or the Rabbanan? Let's take a look. Source number 5 on page 229 in the Tzurba. Okay, let's read through. Yisrael, sha'asa malacha b'Shabbat. If a Jew does malacha on Shabbat, im avar v'asa b'zadon, right? If he did it, and he did it intentionally, asor lo lehanot b'oto malacha le'olam. He's never allowed to have hana from this. V'sha'ar Yisrael, but every other Jew, mutar lahem lehanot ba lemotzei Shabbat miyad. They're allowed to have hana right away after Shabbat for everyone else. Whose shita is this? Whose mazid is this? Rabbi Yehuda. So says the Rambam, the halacha is Rabbi Yehuda. Furthermore, look how more insightful the Rambam is here. Shinemar, v'shemartem et Shabbat ki kodesh hu, he kodesh. Shabbat is kodesh, ve'en Maaseh kodesh. But it's Maaseh is not kodesh, which means is the Rambam understands the Isser as being a derabanan. Right? The result of the Maaseh Shabbat, the knas is a derabanan. And that's the way the Rambam says it. Ketzat. So now the Rambam gives an example. What's the example? Yisrael bashel b'Shabbat, right? He makes bishul on Shabbat, but mazid on purpose. Mazid means he knows it's Shabbat and he knows that it's Isser on Shabbat. All right? L'motzei Shabbat yachal acherim. Motzei Shabbat, others can eat it. Avolo lo yochal olamit, but he cannot eat it forever. V'im bashal b'shgaga, and if he cooked it not knowing, he thought it was Sunday, or he thought bishul was okay to do, right? Lemotzei Shabbat yochal ben hu ben acheim miyad. V'chein kol kayotze b'zeh. It's just not the issue is not only by bishul, but any malacha that has a resulting to it. This will be the same there. Okay, so the Rambam very clear. Halacha like Rabbi Yehuda, the result is an Isser Kanas de Rabbanan, and that's the case. That's that was in the Gemara. That other second drasha was also in the Gemara. Take a look at the end of that source 3. Man da Amar de Rabbanan Amar Kar Kodesh. He Kodesh ve'ein Maaseh Kodesh. That's the those who learn that it's a derabanan. Learn the drasha that way. Those who learn that it is a doraita learn that what's this kodesh? That's also kodesh, right? But the Rambam said that's not the way to learn. The Rambam saying learn the second way in the Gemara. That what the resulting of a Maaseh Shabbat is a derabanan. Oh,
What does that mean?
he kodesh. Shabbat is kodesh. Ushmartem da Shabbat ki kodesh yelachem. He kodesh. Shabbat is kodesh. Maaseh is not compared to kodesh.
What is Kodesh? He. What is he?
Shabbat.
Holy.
No, nothing higher. He kodesh. Shabbat is holy.
Which means nothing.
Shabbat is kodesh.
He's saying nothing.
Right, not no din from there. No din from there. Right, no halacha from there. Shabbat is kodesh. But the Maaseh is not compared to kodesh. Right, that's the way you're learning it. Okay, fine. Now, all is nice, fine, and dandy. The Rambam said lachas like Rabbi Yehuda. All is good. However, there is another Gemara in Chulin. Gemara in Chulin tells us, Rav Chanan bar Ami, ki mori lahu Rav l'talmideya, mori lahu k'Rabbi Meir. When Rav would be teaching his students halacha, he taught the halacha like who? Like Rabbi Meir. V'chi darish bepirka, but when he was giving a drasha in public, meaning he was also teaching Amoritzes, right? These Amoratzim came, so he was teaching them as well. Darash keRabbi Yehuda mishum amei haaretz. So this is a very it's a very important rule. You have to know your audience.
Right.
You have to know your audience.
Right.
If you're speaking to second graders, you got to talk to them in the way they understand it. You're speaking to 10th grade, you got to talk to them in the way they understand it. But the same thing is true with halacha. When you're telling somebody, like the din with snowballs on Shabbat. Like I said, you can't use snowballs. There are those poskim who say, depends how you make the snowball, what's the snowball, maybe yeah, maybe no. But I'm giving a halacha for the whole shul. Not everybody is very... No, on Shabbat, the kid wants to make a snowball, right? So maybe he didn't compact it so this or that, there's what to talk about. But I got up and I said, you cannot make no snowball, no this, no that. Why is it said this? Even though some of the shittot that I said are more on the machmer level, but because I don't want to start getting into issues. You're not going to understand. He's not going to understand. He's going to do the wrong way. So the Gemara, this is not my own mahal. This is the mahal of what you have to do. To know your audience, to know who you're speaking to. Speaking in a big oilam, you have to say the halakha that everyone's going to understand it correctly and get it the right way. So that's what Rav used to do. So his Talmidim, he said Ikar did. So every mayor, when he went and he spoke in public, he said a more machmer shita like Rabbi Yehuda.
And Rabbi Yehuda,
I'm just reading the Gemara. Now, Tosfot says, Mori lahu Rabbi Meir, mash mashikein halacha. That's the halacha. V'chein dar shava b'perekira Rabbi Meir. So Tosfot says, that's the halacha. Rabbi Meir is the halacha. So let's take a look at Shulchan Aruch. What does Shulchan Aruch do? You have the Rambam and you have Tosfot.
look at what,
Rambam Rif, and you have Tosfot and his opinions. And those are so. What does Shulchan Aruch do?
look that Rambam is doing.
So Hamavashel b'Shabbos, right? That's the case the Gemara gave. That's the classic example of Maaseh Shabbat. But Rambam tells us, Oshaseh achat mishar melachot. Doesn't make a difference if it's bishul. Any other malacha that comes into a resultant. B'mezid also leilaylam. If he did it on purpose, he knew it's Shabbos. He knew the mister was. He knew it was an isser. Also leilaylam. It's also for him forever. V'lacher muter lemuter Shabbat miyad. It's for others. The mutar Shabbat is mutar. Uvishogeg asur bo b'yom gam la'acherim v'le'erev, and the nighttime mutar gam lo miyad. Shulchan Aruch brings the halacha, and the Ramah doesn't argue. The Ramah doesn't bring an opinion. They all say the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. If it only ended here, okay? So you had Rabbi Yehuda. Halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda according to Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah. Comes the Bir Hagra, okay? And the Vilna Gaon says, Uma shekotvu ha'gaonim v'chein haram v'haramban d'lahachi yesh lifsoik Rabbi Yehuda, that you should paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Why is this? Mishum d'nafshi amei aretzoid gaben, because there are a lot of amei aretzos. Oh, Rabbi Avner is here. Now he's going to know the halacha. Come, Rabbi Avner. Okay. Baruch Hashem, you came to the right place. Mishum the nefshei amei haratzot gaben v'chein kosev harosh, and so says the Rosh. That what? We only said the halacha like Rabbi Yehuda because there are a lot of Amarat sites. They don't know halacha, so you have to teach them to be machmir. But now, however, now it's different. Later, today is no more like that. The kfar kotz v'toysus is very kam the yom tov v'shmamina da'anan chashivi b'nei Torah. We are b'nei Torah. Yeah, kulanu chachamim, kulanu yodim etakol. Right? We know everything.
Yeah, but this is the graph.
So says the Vilna Gaon. Right, the Vilna Gaon, right? Right. So says the Vilna Gaon, he says today is the whole reason why the Ran and the Ramban and the Rambam and the Geonim all said the halacha from Maaseh Shabbos and Rabbi Yehuda because they're all worried about the Amar Artzos. There's so many Amar Artzim around, you gotta be careful with them. Therefore, the halacha is Rabbi Yehuda. But says the Vilna Gaon today, I guess he's talking about his day in Vilna. Everybody knows everything. Therefore, the halacha is like Rabbi Meir, which is a bigger kula. Why? Rabbi Meir's kula was b'shoigig. Everyone can enjoy it on Shabbos. B'mezid, everyone can enjoy it after Shabbat. That's what the Vilna Gaon says. Mishnah Berurah. I think we should look at the Mishnah Berurah in source 10. We're on page 231. Mishnah Berurah says. He making more plea given in Shoigi B'mezid Rabbi Meir Rabbi Yehuda, but that Shulchan Aruch Hudat Rabbi Yehuda Shekain Hiskimu Harifar Amam V'Goyim. That's the halacha for the Shulchan Aruch, like Rabbi Yehuda, because that's what the Rif, the Rambam, the Goyim, they all say. V'Hagra Hiskim B'Vioroi L'Shita Asatoisvus V'Siatam, and those who agree with him. The Pasuk Rabbi Meir, the B'mezid Oser Bein Loi Bein La'Acherem Ad Motzei Shabbos U'B'Shoigeg Muter Gam Loi Miyad. Says the Mishnah Berurah as halacha l'maaseh for Ashkenazim. Says the Mishnah Berurah uvemalkam hatzoyrech yesh lismoich azeh bebishul b'shoigeg. So if a guy cooked by accident, he forgot it was Shabbat, according to the Gra, you can enjoy that, even him, on Shabbat. But malkam tzorech, but the guy didn't have anything else to eat in Shabbat. And now he can eat it on Shabbat. That's the Mishnah Berurah's halacha l'maaseh. That it could be like Rabbi Meir, the Malkam Tarech, like the Gra. Okay, now the Moshe Levi, one of the Sephardic poskim, previous generation, he also held like the Mishnah Berurah. But now, can you imagine what Chacham Ovadia and the Yalkut Yosef will do? Right? They are, like we like to say a lot of times, 99% of the time, the Yalkut Yosef, especially Chacham Ovadia, were purists when it came to the Shulchan Aruch. Azoy shtayt in the Shulchan Aruch, azoy is. The way the Shulchan Aruch it says it, that's the way it stays. Don't come to explain this way, that way, this way. That's the way it says, that's the way it is. Let's take a look in the Yalkut Yosef. Source 11. Someone who cooks by accident on Shabbat, he didn't know it was Shabbat. He woke up, he thought it was Thursday, or he for some reason thought that you're allowed to cook on Shabbat. The high news that he shayasover shemalacha zumutul asas b'Shabbos. Or she also came out pihoras chacham sheta'ol behora. We're going to get to this later. He asked the rabbi, and the rabbi said, "Is okay." Okay, so he went to the rabbi what the rabbi said, and he did it. That's a different story. We'll deal with that later. Oh, shechashev shadayin lo nichnas Shabbos. Or he said Shabbos didn't come in yet. He thought it was Thursday. Whatever. The kol kayotzev is that whenever he's considered a shoygeg, kol kayotzev is that hatav shel aser boy ba yoin bein loy bein la'achedim. She just Rabbi Yehuda, right? Like Rabbi Yehuda. Over Motzei Shabbat, hatav shel muter ba'achila gam nevashel miyad ve'ein tzorech lahamtin b'chdei she'asu. And there's no b'chdei she'asu when it comes to Maaseh of a Jew. Then says the Yalkut Yosef on top of page 232. Ve'yesh oimrim, and there are those who say she'esh lahakil b'shoygeg, and you're okay to be makel by shoygeg lahanois ma'oisem malacha af b'Shabbos atzma, even on Shabbat. Who is this? Rabbi Meir. This is Tosfot. This is the Vilna Gaon. Ulam ein lahakil bazeh l'Sfaradim. You're not to be makel like this for Sfaradim. Ve'edot hamizrach af b'malkum tzorech. The Bishop Berurah said that you're allowed to do it in malkum tzorech. Says the Yalkut Yosef, you can't do it. You can't hold in it. Once we held, like the Moran Shulchan Aruch, right? This is Chamavadia's approach in all of halacha, which we should all take on, is once we accepted the Shulchan Aruch Sarah, that's what we have to go with. The who even when it is shoygeg. So halacha Maaseh, according to the Yalkut Yosef, and for us to follow the Shulchan Aruch, Maaseh Shabbat, the guy did in Yisur Shabbat b'shogeg. He forgot it was Shabbat. He thought it was mutar to do. It's asur to use on that day.
So for Ashkenazi,
Right? It's also to use on the day for him and for anybody else. After Shabbat, it's mutar for him and for everyone else miyad. That is Shittas Rabbi Yehuda b'shogeg. That's the halacha l'maaseh for us. Okay? Now that we went through this beautifully inside, let's take a look very briefly in the Yalkut Yosef English edition, where he deals with these halachot. So we really went through the whole sugya, to the Gemara, to the Rishonim, the Shulchan Aruch, and the Maaseh Kalim. Now let's take a look briefly in the Yalkut Yosef that we have over here, just to review it and get it straight in our head. Okay, says the Yalkut Yosef. If a Jew cooks food on Shabbat b'mezid, on purpose now, knowing full well that by doing so, he is desecrating Shabbat. What did Rabbi Yehuda hold? For him, for the guy who did it, asur lo le'olam. He's never allowed to use it, even after Shabbat. What about for everyone else? It is forbidden to all the people until Shabbat is over. It then becomes permissible to all. Okay, the guy went Shabbat morning. He says, I know it's Shabbat, and I know it's asur to cook on Shabbat, but I'm making eggs anyway. All right? And he went ahead and he made eggs. He cooked eggs. So this guy who cooked it, that food is asur lo le'olam. You can never eat that food. For him. For everyone else, after Shabbat, they can eat those eggs.
I mean, according
to everybody. According to everybody. He can eat, everyone else can eat those eggs. Okay? That's what the Yalkut Yosef brings down. And you don't have to wait. It says the Yalkut Yosef, this is even if the Jew cooked the food specifically for those other Jews. They can still use it as Shabbat, but this is only we're going to see. It's only if it's done one time, like once in a while. It's not the guy doesn't have a restaurant. He's cooking for Jews every Shabbat. That's a whole different story. Okay, this is like the guy just happened to do one day. He made eggs for you, and you never asked him to do it, and now after Shabbat you can have.
I'm talking about the home, not the restaurant.
Home. Okay. Now, even by Maaseh, we already saw the Gemara told us. We're going to take a look at this again later. Although the Jew who cooked on Shabbat, b'mezid, may never eat that food, he may sell that food to others for its full price. The Isser is on the food, right? Lachem, right? But it's still yours. It is not necessary for him to deduct the cost of the labor involved in cooking it, right? It cost me $10 to put it together on Shabbat. You don't have to deduct it from the cost. The general rule is that the Jew may receive benefit for selling something produced through an act of Shabbat desecration. It's forbidden only to eat it or otherwise benefit directly from the malacha. You can't benefit from the malacha itself, the result of that malacha itself, but you can benefit from selling it. That's the halacha.
You can benefit from the food.
From selling it. That was the whole drasha of lachem, right? It's lachem, it's yours. Why? So you can make money off it, right? Okay, b'shogeg. Let's take a look at shogeg. So that's b'mezid, b'shogeg. If a Jew cooked on Shabbat b'shogeg, meaning he was not aware that by doing so he was desecrating Shabbat because he thought the action was permitted. He thought the Shabbat had not yet begun. Right? Not going to deal with the rabbi who mistakenly told him because that's going to be in a minute. We'll deal with that. Immediately, so what happens? The food may not be eaten by anyone until Shabbat is over. That's Rabbi Yehuda. If it was done b'shogeg, l'maaseh and averah happened, so no one can use it on Shabbat. But after Shabbat, immediately after Shabbat, anyone, including the guy who cooked it, could benefit from it. All right? Fine. Anything else? Here is an example. Therefore, so here he brings what we spoke about again. Some poskim ruled that if a Jew cooked food on Shabbat b'shogeg, it may be eaten even on Shabbat b'malkum tzarech, the Mishnah Brura, based on the Gra, based on the Tosfot. Sephardic Jews, however, follow the rulings of Shulchan Aruch, and he ruled that no one may eat the food on Shabbat under any circumstance. Therefore, if someone placed raw food, okay, he woke up in the morning, he saw there's no tchumi Shabbat, there's no eggs for Shabbat. So he quietly went, took some eggs from the fridge, threw it into the pot. Huh? No, he's making tchumi Shabbat. He's putting it into the Shvo. He forgot to put it in. So on Shabbat, he takes out eggs from the fridge, and he goes ahead and he puts it into the pot, to the cholent pot, to the Shvo pot, whatever it is, to the chamim. Okay, so is it mutar to eat it or not? He didn't know. So he's dealing with a case of shogeg. He didn't know that it's asur to do that. He thought, broi tchumi Shabbat mutar. He thought because it's for Shabbat, for the eggs, it's mutar. How are you going to have Shabbat? Some people say, how do you have Shabbat without eggs, right? I heard this other guy tell me, how do you have Shabbat without oshbach, without bach at night? He was giving me a whole gematria of how bach is gematria b'Shabbat. It was the whole thing. It was a share brachot I went to. The guy was dashing up, right? So some people say, how do you have Shabbat without bach? How do you have Shabbat without chumi Shabbat? So what did he do? He goes ahead, thinking it's mutar, and he puts it into the pot. So he did it b'shogeg. Now, Rabbi Huda says you cannot use it. Rabbi Meir says you could use it on Shabbat if it was done b'shogeg. Everyone can use it. And Tosafot said you can do it. And the Gra said you can do it. And the Mishnah Berurah said you can do it b'malkum tzarech. Here's the malkum tzarech. No, but he didn't know it was asur. He thought it was mutar.
No, he thought this
So it was mutar. So according to the Ashkenazim, according to the Mishnah Berurah, if you can call it, I'm not saying it is a malkum tzarech, but if you call it a malkum tzarech, how can you have Shabbat without an egg, right? And it's b'shogeg, he thought it was mutar, you would be allowed to eat those eggs. But says the Alkut Yosef, we don't follow that. We have the Shulchan Aruch bilvad. That's it. The only thing we have no gra to tell us that mutar. Therefore, those eggs b'shogeg remain asur for everybody during the day of Shabbat. It's only mutar. It's only mutar after, but the Oshva will remain okay. No, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Okay. Good. You still have somewhat of Shabbat, right? Okay. Here. Actually, this is the case. Rav Avner, they bring this. I didn't mean to mention it, but the Yalkut Yosef does say it. If someone on Shabbat added raw eggs in the shell to a stew that was cooking on the fire, and the eggs were cooked along with the rest of the stew, it's forbidden to eat the eggs on Shabbat. But the rest of the stew is permitted. Okay? The rest of the stew is permitted. You don't have to worry about blood spots in the eggs. You don't have to worry about that. Right? The right, you can eat your shvo, you can eat your chaltu shvo, wherever you put those eggs, right? You can still eat that. All right, just can't eat the shvo. All right, now, fine. Now, let's get into the next topic. This was all b'shogeg and b'mezid. B'mezid meaning I knew it was Shabbos, I knew it was Asr. B'mezid means I didn't know it was Shabbos, I thought it wasn't Shabbos, I thought it wasn't Asr, I thought it was Mutter. Now we're going to deal with the case of mit'asek. What's mit'asek? This is not even shogeg, meaning I didn't even do it accidentally. I mean, I didn't think that it wasn't Shabbat, or I didn't think it was mutar. The guy was walking past the wall, all right, and he, with his shoulder, as he was moving, massaging himself on the side over there, he's trying to take out a knot right from his back, side himself on the wall, trying to crack his knuckles, whatever it is. I don't know, whatever people do on the wall, okay? He has a scratchy wall where he can scratch his back, fine. And as he's doing it, he knocks the light switch. And the light is an incandescent light bulb, so it's a Doraita issue, okay? Don't dump me, it's LED. We're going to deal with that, but it's an incandescent light bulb. He never switched it. It still works. And he turns it on. So now it's Maaseh Shabbat. But this is not shogeg. This is even lesser than shogeg. This is mit'asek. This guy didn't even mean, it wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't anything to do with anything. And it just happened. So if it was shogeg, right, then no one can benefit from it. It's Maaseh Shabbat b'shogeg. If the guy took it, thought that it was okay to put on, and he turned on the lights, right? If he has where else to go, he has to go elsewhere. He can't stay in that room, right? Because it's Maaseh Shabbat b'shogeg, asur lo v'lacherim b'Shabbat. B'Shabbat mutar. Okay, but this is mitasek. What's the case over here? So let's take a look in the Piskei Teshuvot. Piskei Teshuvot says as follows: V'dafka v'shagig Shabbos v'shagig malacha. It's only if he made a shogig in Shabbos, he thought it wasn't Shabbos, so shogig that the malacha is mutar. No thought about the malacha. The guy, like I told you, the case, he was leaning on the wall. He hit it with his shoulder. It's not malacha machshavas. It's not calculated work, right?
What is this?
Mutar lahanot me'ora af b'Shabbat. So says the Piskei Teshuvot, when we said it's also according to Rabbi Yehuda, according to Shulchan Aruch, the way we learn that it's also to benefit from Maaseh Shabbat b'shogeg. That when it's Maaseh, it's a real shogeg. When it's mitasek, that's not a shogeg, and therefore one would be allowed to benefit from that light.
No, nothing.
I'm not up to the korbanot stage yet. When I get there, I'll let you know.
People sneeze.
Et matag hachashmal beyado. Right? No, what about this? The guy, he knew it was Shabbat. He knew it was everything. He didn't think anything was mutar, but he's ragil to turn on lights when he walks into a room. It became nature for him. He walks into a room, he turns on the light.
Automatically.
So is that shogeg or is that mitaseh?
Shogeg. Shabbat.
Shogeg or mitaseh? Which one is it? So let's say with the Piskei Teshuvot. Im hidlik et matag hashma biyado mitoch haraglo beimot hachol vaday shogeg. This is a shogeg. This is now considered accidental. Ulai, he says, and perhaps av karov lemezid. Maybe it even is not just a shogeg. Maybe it's karov lemezid, right? Person has to pay attention. Person has to pay attention to what he's doing, and it's not going to be mitasek. It's going to be a shogeg, and therefore, if he turned on that light, right, doesn't matter. That's a shogeg, and a shogeg Maaseh Shabbat asur b'Shabbat lo v'lacherim. Okay. Let's take a look at this halacha in the Yalkut Yosef. Yalkut Yosef brings this halacha on Maaseh.
That is Shabbat.
That's
You're
what
doing
it is,
something
Shabbat.
when you're doing something out of habit. That you're not thinking.
I hear you. But he's saying no. He's saying it's considered an accident. Not only say that, it's considered maybe even amazing, carved amazing. I knew it was Shabbat. I knew it's Asur, and I did it anyway. That's amazing. Not that I thought it was mutar. Not that I thought it wasn't Shabbat. I'm ragil and I did it. So it's carved amazing. That's what Piskei Teshuvot was saying. He said, "I'll give you as being a shogeg," but it's really carved amazing. Who like carved amazing? Let's take a look at in the halacha l'maaseh from the Yalkut Yosef. What he says here. Some poskim ruled that if someone leaned against the wall and unwittingly flipped the light switch and turned it on, he may benefit from the light even on Shabbat, since he had no intention of performing any act of malacha, and does not even fall into the category of b'shogeg. Other poskim ruled that it is forbidden for him or anyone else to benefit from the light on Shabbat. In practice, if one cannot go somewhere else where there is light, one may be lenient and read by this light. So even in the case of mitasek, where the Piskei Teshuvot said you can have an upperman, it's okay. The Yalkut Yosef says, yeah, but you better go somewhere else. Don't use that light. Even in the case of mitasek. Says further Yalkut Yosef, if someone mistakenly and simply by habit flipped on the light switch on Friday night as he entered a room, this is considered a classic case of performing an act of malacha and b'shogeg, and the malacha is, like we said, asor lo v'lachem for Shabbat. The guy walked into his bathroom, right? And he's a very, this is one of those people that they like to conserve money throughout the week. So they, like, especially a lot of times, one or the other spouse always says, shut the lights, right? We're saving up for the next house, okay? So I don't know if that's really going to help you, but okay. So So he's used to shutting up and turning it on, and he's walking in on Shabbat, and someone forgot to leave the lights on, and they didn't put those magnets or some tape or a sign, whatever, and he goes and he flips on that light. That's considered a shogeg. And l'halacha, he's not allowed to benefit from that light. And we're talking about the light is an incandescent light bulb, and it's a doraita issue. When we again, I'm saying this whole case we're talking about is where it's an incandescent light bulb and it's a doraita issue. When it's going to be Maaseh Shabbat derabanan, it's going to be a little different story. But right now we're dealing with an incandescent light bulb.
What if it means that you put in function without it?
Right.
If you turn on the basement light and it's pitch dark in the basement, now you cannot go in the basement.
Or you can go in there with your eyes closed. I don't
You
know.
turn on the closet, you probably could see anyway.
You have to pay attention.
Depends what kind of
So some bathrooms also, there's no other light than the light switch. You would have to go in with your closed eyes. I don't know, figure it out. But you can't have enough from that thing if you flip on the switch. If it's I think it's one thing. You have what to rely on. Even there, he doesn't want you to rely. Okay.
The light is open.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Now the next halacha, we saw this briefly in the Alkut Yosef. Let's see if we can look at it again. Let me just take a look at the time. Okay, we have 10 minutes, so I'd really like to finish up the Doraita issue, and we can leave the Rabbanan for the next one. Okay, fine. Says the Shulchan Aruch Harav, Im Oisa al pi horat chacham shita'a. Okay, goes to the rabbi, says, Rabbi, can I do this on Shabbat? Rabbi says, mutar, you can do it. And now it finds out that really you can't do it on Shabbat. Nikra shogeg. It's considered a shogeg. And therefore you can't benefit from it on Shabbat, but you can benefit from it right after Shabbat. Even the guy who did it. Right, and the who didn't, right? Like a regular shogeg. So if the Chacham told you can do it, and you did it, it's considered a shogeg, and you can benefit from it after Shabbat, even the guy who did it. Now, the Alkut Yosef wants to make a distinction over here about asking this Chacham. I'm going to read to you the Alkut Yosef, what he says over here. He says a very interesting case over here. Where did I go? Over here. Page is 263. Give me a minute. There we are. Okay. Says the Alkut Yosef as follows. He likes to use this. Imshal davar halacha lechacham habaki b'hara. Okay? If you ask the chacham who's baki b'hara, he knows how to paskin. He knows halachot. V'hetir lo hadavar, v'asa kein al pi harastai, v'acher kach nisvar she'oisa chacham ta'al b'hara, chashiv k'shogeg. Acher she'asa al pi harais chacham. Listen, see what you want. Chacham says mutar to do. He did it. So when I say he did based on that, so he's a shogeg. He didn't mean to be mechal Shabbat. Aval im sha'al rav hayadua umeforsem kimisha eino baki b'halacha. But if you went and you asked a rabbi who is not baki b'halacha, he's not so well versed in halacha, and you asked him, right? V'heshev lo leheter ve'avar ve'asa, and that not such a competent rabbi told you it's mutar, and you went ahead and you did it. V'shabbat al pi horaso. And this chacham is mistaken in his ruling. Yesh loymar the chashiv ka'asa b'mezid v'asar loy lahanois ma'osa malacha ba'olam. It's as if he did amazing, right? Shema'acher v'chacham zeh yedu mifursam l'chol she'enu baki b'halacha. Since everyone knows that this rabbi is not a baki b'halacha, why'd you ask him, right? You're not allowed. You're not supposed to be asking him, right? So I'll even just say one step forward. In America, everybody's a rabbi. Okay, you're a rebbe, you're a rabbi, right? You're a magashir, you're a rabbi. You're a mashgiach, you're a rabbi. You're a rabbino, right? And that doesn't mean that he's someone who is who can give a psak, all right? That's why they created what's called smicha, right? That the Rav says that taught him that this guy knows what to answer, and all the smichas papers say that he can answer as long as he is continuously reviewing those halachot, because otherwise the guy's going to paskin wrong. And you have to know there are some rabbis that are very good darshanim, but they're not such good when it comes to hora. And a Rav himself has to be able to. Moshe Weiss always says this, if he says it about himself, He says the Rav also has to say when he doesn't know. I don't know. I have to get back to you. I have to find out for you. Because you have to remember, there are some Rabbanim that all day they're dealing with Hilchot, with Halachot Kashrut. Right? You go to the Vad, there are rabbis sitting there. All day they're dealing with Hilchot Kashrut. Their mind is always in Hilchot Kashrut. You ask them Hilchot Kashrut, because they know they're all day in it. And other Rabbanim, they're all day with Gittin and Kiddushin. They're the ones you go to. They're the experts, right? Yeah, and you go there. You have to go to know who knows how to pass. If the guy doesn't know, he says, I don't know. And he gets back to you, and he'll find out. Okay, fine. That's in that. Now, the next case over here is what about a Chiloni? Okay, a non-religious Jew, a secular Jew. He and he does a Maaseh b'Shabbat, right? So what's his status? Okay, so okay, let's take a look. Let's read inside the research. Contemporary poskim generally agree that if a Chiloni, whether he's Tinuk Shenishba, whether he's not Tinuk Shenishba, whether he doesn't know or he does know, is defined, and he does Malacha on Shabbat, it's defined as intentional. It's defined as mezid, okay? And not in the invariant, and it's not considered a shogeg. As a result, others are permitted to benefit the Malacha only after Shabbat, okay? Now, what about Bichdei Shi'asu? When a guy does Malacha, right, when he wasn't allowed to do Malacha for you, right, he did the Malacha for you, you have to wait until the time after Shabbat in order to benefit from it. That was the last shiur that we learned. How do we view this non-religious Jew as regards Bichdei Shi'asu? Right? We said for a Yehudi says you don't have to do Bichdei Shi'asu. What about by a guy? You have to wait Bichdei Shi'asu. What about a Chiloni? Is he a guy or a Jew for this case of Bichdei Shi'asu? That's the question. So the Mishnah Berurah brings two reasons why you would want to wait Bichdei Shi'asu by a guy. We're on page 234. It says the Mishnah Berurah, reason number one is Mishum dekal be'enav isur de'imira la'oved gilulim. You know why you have to wait Bichdei Shi'asu? It's an extra knas. Because it's very easy for you, it's light in your eye to allow Goyim to do stuff on Shabbat. So we tell you, you cannot use it right away. You have to wait Bichdei Shi'asu. This way you won't come to ask him again because you didn't get any benefit from it. And the second reason, says the Mishnah Berurah, ve'od sheha Yisrael lo yishma lo de'en adam chotev lo. If you tell a Jew to do something, he's not going to do it on Shabbat. He's not going to listen to you. He knows the Shabbat, right? So he won't do it again. But a guy has no Shabbat, so he might come to do it again. So how does it work with a non-religious Jew? Is it kal be'enav? Probably not. No religious guy is saying, okay, this guy's an irreligious, let him go do some malacha for me. Most people are not doing that, okay? But what about if I tell him to do it? Will he do it again? If I tell a guy, he'll do it again. That's like Bichdei Shi'asu. If I tell a Jew, he won't do it again. But I tell a non-religious Jew, maybe he will do it again, right? Because he doesn't care about it. So maybe you have to have Bichdei Shi'asu based on this part, this second reason of the Mishnah Berurah. However, the halacha brought down by Rav Avigdor Neben Zal is that a Chiloni is like a Jew, and therefore there's no Bichdei Shi'asu. Doesn't be mezid, right after Shabbat, you can use it. You don't have to wait Bichdei Shi'asu. The Alkut Yosef says the same thing. Chiloni mum and l'chal Shabbos for Hesya. Sharav asu l'cha asura min atayr b'Shabbos l'tzarech acherim b'mezid. Imasa kain ba'ofeni arai. Okay, he's once in a while doing. He's not the restaurant owner. We're not dealing with that guy yet, right? Mutar la'acherim la'anot l'achtom l'tei Shabbat miyad. They ain't tzarech l'hamtein Bichdei Shi'asu. L'maisa is a Chiloni. He's still a Jew. There's no Bichdei Shi'asu. However, the Piskei Tshuvot says the Yisra Mumar La'avodah Zara Dinoi Ka Ovdei Kachavim. Right? Someone who's a Mumar La'avodah Zara, he's considered a guy. Mumar La'avodah Zara means he's against Torah and he's going for Avodah Zara. He's treated like a guy. But Yesh Lo Asiv the Lav Dafka Mumar La'avodah Zara El Af Mumar Nechalel Shabbat. Right? Because we have Amrei Chazal that tell us someone who's Mechal Shabbos is as if he served Avodah Zara. If you serve Avodah Zara, you're a guy. You have a locha like a guy. So Isur Lahanot Melachton Motzei Shabbat Ad Sheyamtin Bichdei Shi'asu. The Bevada Yitziat Im Yomar Lo L'Chalel Shabbat. because if you would ask, he would do it again. So says the Piskei Tshuva, based on the second reading of Mishnah Berurah, you have to wait. And guess what? This non-religious Jew, should be treated as a guy for this halacha, and therefore you have to wait because he's mechel Shabbat for Hesya. He's as if he's starting with Zara, and therefore he's a guy. You have to wait until the time it would take to use that thing. Again, yeah, Piskei Tshuva is arguing with Rabbi Yaakov Yosef, with Rabbi Nebenzal and others who go with this. For us, it's like the Alkut Yosef, and that what? No, you don't have to wait. Right. Let me just see what I wanted to put over here. 3:18:8. By the way, do we have a minyan? We still have time, right? Okay. Well, you need one. Listen, I usually like to stop at Izman. My Rebbein Yeshiva said Izman is Izman. You show up on time, you end on time, right? Sometimes it's okay to go on, especially if you're waiting for someone to show up. If a non-observant Jew who regularly desecrates Shabbat in public performs an act forbidden by Torah and Shabbat for the sake of another Jew on a one-time basis, it's permissible to benefit from his act immediately after Shabbat is over, especially if he made it clear to the non-observant Jew that he did not want him to do what he did. It is not necessary to wait after Shabbat for the amount of time it would take to perform that melacha. There's no b'chtei she'asu when a chiloni does something on a one-time basis.
On a one-time
basis. Now, second part of this halacha. If the non-observant Jew performs melacha on Shabbat for other Jews on a regular basis, he's your Shabbos Jew, okay, in the sense of a Shabbos guy, all right, he's your Shabbos Jew, such as one who cooks in a restaurant or a hotel every Shabbat for its clients. All right, this guy's doing it all the time. It's forbidden for anyone to ever eat that food that he cooked on Shabbat. Since he desecrates Shabbat b'mezid for the sake of others on a regular basis, even if they're not asking to do so, it's forbidden to all others forever, just as forbidden to the person who actually cooked it. Since he's doing it for you, it's as if you. And since Rabbi Yehuda says, b'mezid asur le'olam, and he's doing it for you, and he's doing it regularly for you, that becomes asur le'olam for everyone. So a chiloni who does malacha for Jews on a regular basis, his product of the result of his thing would be asur le'olam for everyone. Okay? We have minyan. He walked into the back. He's here, or does he come in? He's going to come out by that time, or we can continue.
No.